This is Daily Armenia, CivilNet's daily news digest. Here's what you need to know today. In a joint communiqué, the foreign ministers of Armenia, Azerbaijan, Iran, Russia, and Turkey have stressed the need for peace in the South Caucasus based on all the principles of the United Nations Charter, including the non-use of force, respect for territorial integrity, and inviolability of borders. However, outstanding differences in ongoing Armenia-Azerbaijan peace negotiations were not directly discussed at yesterday's summit in Tehran, according to Russia's delegation to the talks. Armenian Foreign Minister Ararat Mirzoyan met with his counterparts yesterday for a first-of-its-kind 3+3 summit, referring to proposed six-way regional talks among the three South Caucasus countries, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia, and their three neighbors, Iran, Russia, and Turkey. Ankara floated the idea of creating the 3+3 format to handle regional issues shortly after the 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh war, a proposal that was welcomed by all other countries except Georgia, which said it would not join due to its long-running conflict with Russia. Tbilisi did not take part in yesterday's summit. Notably, Mirzoyan also met one-on-one with Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan and Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi, but not with representatives of Azerbaijan or Russia. It was Mirzoyan's first ever in-person meeting with Fidan, who has served as Ankara's top diplomat since the summer. In a short statement, Yerevan said Mirzoyan and Fidan had reaffirmed their readiness to implement previously reached agreements. That likely refers to a tentative understanding reached last summer to partially open the two countries' border to citizens of third countries. More than a year on, the border remains closed. Following yesterday's summit, the foreign ministers agreed to meet again in Turkey in the first half of next year. Canadian Foreign Minister Mélanie Joly is due to arrive in Armenia tomorrow, marking the first high-profile visit to Yerevan from Ottawa in a half-decade. In a statement yesterday, the Canadian government said Joly will personally open Canada's new embassy in Yerevan and meet with Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan and other senior officials. The visit is meant to strengthen bilateral relations and allow for increased Canadian support to Armenian democracy, the statement added. Ottawa indicated earlier this year it would open or expand embassies in Armenia, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Slovakia to further enhance Canada's engagement in the region and help counter Russia's destabilizing activities. In addition, Canada is the only non-European country taking part in the European Union's monitoring mission along the Armenian side of the border with Azerbaijan, having deployed 2 civilian experts earlier this year to help with observation efforts. Armenia has signed a major arms deal with France, marking the first time Yerevan has purchased Western-made weapons. Yesterday's agreement allows Armenia to obtain radar systems and other equipment from French defense manufacturers, and also permits Paris to help Yerevan train military officers and reform its armed forces. In addition, the two countries' defense ministers signed a letter of intent to greenlight the future sales of French short-range surface-to-air missiles to Armenia. There was no timeline immediately given for the deliveries, nor any financial details of the deal, which is remarkable as an arms agreement between NATO member France and Armenia, part of the Russian-led CSTO military alliance. The first-of-its-kind arms deal comes as France continues to deepen its engagement in the region, while Armenia's ties with Russia, its traditional arms dealer, continue to fray. Earlier this month, France's foreign minister said she is personally pushing Brussels to bolster its monitoring mission in Armenia, as well as to add Yerevan to an EU funding instrument that provides military support to non-member countries. That came just weeks after France indicated it will open a consulate in Syunik, becoming the third country after Iran and Russia to establish or announce plans to establish a permanent diplomatic presence in Armenia's strategically vital southernmost region. And finally, the CivilNet number of the day is 12,600,000. That's the amount in dollars that UNICEF says it needs to provide 6 months of critical services for the more than 30,000 Armenian children who were forcibly displaced from their homes in Nagorno-Karabakh last month. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.